Welcome to Never Enough Time. I'm getting into these outdoor beachside reviews. Hopefully we can moderate the wind noise a bit. There's also family partying right over there. So you may hear some random noises as well. But, you know, like I've said in other videos, when we go to the lake and people do lake games, I figure let's do some watch reviews. Today, we're taking a look at a watch that I did not expect to like as much as I do. I think it's an absolute home run. I love it, but we'll try to give you a balanced look at the Helm Vanuatu.
So if you ain't got nothing better to do, let's waste some time.
So as we dig into this watch, we're just going to take a look at its overall dimensions, especially since its dimensions play such a large role in the review itself. We have a 42 millimeter diameter on the case with the bezel 43 millimeters. The bezel hangs, a millimeter is such a small amount, but the bezel hangs just slightly over the case. Maybe you can see it there. So 42 on the case, 43 in terms of wrist presence because of the bezel. 46 millimeters if we go out to the crown. It is 50 millimeters lug to lug. It is 14 millimeters thick. Its lug width is 22 millimeters. Now, this is not the configuration that the watch came on. It's the configuration I'm reviewing it. But on its bracelet, which I have here, we have it's like a hex head or engineer style bracelet. We'll talk about this in a moment. But on its bracelet, it's 235 grams, so that's quite heavy. That'll play into the review a bit. On the Helm branded rubber strap that I ordered with the watch, 147 grams, so a bit more wearable on the rubber. We have a sapphire crystal. We have internal colorless anti-reflective coating. We have a screw-down case back with the Helm logo there. And it is water resistance to 300 meters. It is ISO 6425 certified. So a proper dive watch, a proper tool watch. The dial is one of the things that I love about this watch. I've always said that a black dial watch with white indices, white hands is one of the most versatile pieces you can wear as a watch. And that's true with the Helm as well. The dial is a matte black with white indices. We see the orange dot accents there, which on the orange rubber strap and the orange second hand are just some nice splashes of color, pops of color, if you will. The dial is very minimally branded. You just have the Helm under the 12 o'clock, and then you have the water resistance and automatic there above the date window, which is at the 6 o'clock. So a clean dial, actually a very clean dial, certainly reminiscent of Zinn in its handset, but I think a very balanced dial. The date wheel, you can get in one of two variations. You can either get a white date wheel or you can get the date wheel that matches the dial. I tend to prefer date wheels that match the color of the dial. But if you don't, you do have that option from Helm as well. The movement here, we're into very standard movement, the Seiko NH35. Workhorse movement, 40-hour power reserve. Certainly nothing game-changing there or even really that interesting. But it's a workhorse movement. It's a movement that a lot of micro brands are using. I think it's good, especially when we talk about the final price point on this watch. The bracelet, it's a heavy one, very thick and beefy. It sort of matches the overall design language of this watch in general, which is a very aggressive tool watch, if you will. The bracelet I find mostly is comfortable. I'm not typically a bracelet guy, but it's heavy, it's well built. It's kind of cool looking. It's not your standard sort of oyster or Jubilee style. So you got, I think, some interest in terms of how it's built. Very good in its articulation. My issue with the bracelet, this is one of the cons of this watch. This bracelet here is sharp, and on this edge of the buckle is sharp. And I actually found it digging quite often into here. I was getting some wear or dig marks on my wrist. This is a strap code, what they call hex head bracelet. And I don't know if Helm gets it from strap code or if both strap code and Helm use the same manufacturer. But to me, these watches look the same. You know, the clasps are certainly different. But the point in showing you this is this is a $73 bracelet by itself. So Helm isn't cutting corners in the materials, the heft, the build quality of this watch, and still delivering it for around 300 bucks. I have a hard time with all the watches I've collected over the years, had and will be reviewing going on in the future. I just think this one is super tough to beat from a value prop. It just, the quality is there, the sturdiness is there. On the bracelet, you have solid end links. I have them here separately. You have drilled lugs as well on the watch, made strap changing actually as easy as any that I have ever done. So you have there $300, an absolute beast of a watch in its heft, in its size, in its construction, in its quality. I will tell you, when we look at the 120 click unidirectional bezel, it's a solid. There is zero, I mean, that is locked in. It is a pleasure to turn. You have, if you're using this as it's intended, as a tool watch, sport watch, dive watch, you have a very aggressive edging on the bezel that you can grasp quite easily. The bezel, while not easy, is not exactly painful to turn, and it locks in. It's, again, just speaks to the kind of quality on the crown. You have the details of the Helm signed crown. The knarling on the crown, I would argue, is even a little sharp. That's part of the overall feel of the Helm. So I'm a fan of its build quality. Yes, the bracelet has some hot spots. Yes, there's some roughness even on the case there with the crown, but it's possible that's just part of a rugged budget tool watch. Ergonomically, I think it's going to be tough for some people. It's big, 50 millimeters, lug to lug is big, 43 millimeters on your wrist is big, 14 mil thick is big, and with the bracelet, 235 is big. So who would wear this watch and for what purposes? One, you got to be comfortable with the size and the heft. If you are, the next thing you have to like is the dial design. I mean, after all, we buy watches because we like the look of them. They connect with us. We are drawn to it for whatever reason. I will tell you that on this rubber strap, while not part of the review because it's something you would purchase separately, might be the flat out best rubber strap I've ever put on a diver. Unbelievably comfortable, unbelievably supple, easy to wear. And when you knock this watch down to 150 grams, you got a very comfortable wearable watch. Yep, I think they have different colors. I didn't actually look at that. I like orange. I think it makes the dots in the second hand pop. But there's really not enough good to say about this watch if you can handle its size and if you like its aesthetic. And I think with the Helm, yes, the movement isn't going to wow anybody. I think everything else does. This Helm watch is for, to me, the rugged water sport, outdoor adventurer. I think it covers all of those categories. It's a watch that I think will look better as it gets scuffed up. Now, I ordered the stainless steel bezel. It was easy to remove. It came with the black bezel. I popped it off for the stainless steel. So, final verdict in its value, I bought an additional bezel, the best rubber strap I've ever had. I got all of it for about 350 bucks. It's a watch since I have not taken off. We're on 3 or 4 weeks. I'll put a link to my unboxing, but if you go back and look at the unboxing, that's when I got the watch. It was that day that I did it. So 3 or 4 weeks now. And I Love it. I think it is an A plus for what it is. A $300 robust, no nonsense, aggressive, in your face tool watch, sport watch. Take your laps, Helm. You nailed it. I love it. Rarely have I loved a watch like this, especially when I understand its limitations, right? No high horology, no ground shaking, anything. Just an unapologetically aggressive, rugged tool watch that for me on a rubber strap is comfortable, is fun to wear. On the bracelet, I would say less so. So, can you wear this as an everyday watch? Absolutely. If you can get over the things I said, weight, size, um, even its design is pretty aggressive. Absolutely, it can be an everyday watch. Can you dress it up? I look. I'm not a fashion person, but I would say no. It's not. Why would you? Why bother? But everyday watch, tool watch, dive watch. I think you could flex it into a field watch at 14 mil thick and its size bigger than your standard field watch for sure. I'm not suggesting it was even designed to be a field watch, but I think if you can handle its size, you could flex into that. Super easily legible. I think it can take a pretty good beating. I'll cut it off there. I keep going on because it's so rare. There's a lot of watches I've liked, and there's a handful of watches in my collection. Um, but this Helm, I've absolutely loved it, and it just blows my mind that for 300 bucks you can get such a robust, fun watch to wear. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to do a few more at the beach here. Have a great week whenever you may be watching this. God bless.